walking out of they neck. Pull no coffin out of your mouth. I'm way too paranoid for a threat. Hey, let's get it, bro. EOT, the money, power, respect. The last one is better. Say this a lot of goofies for the check. I mean, I hope them sentiments symbolic. My temperament, bipolar, too violent. Okay, let's get it up. It's time for him to prove that he's a problem. Niggas clicking up, but they not be legit. No 40 water. Tell him, yeah, get up with me. Fuck sneak this, first person shooter. I hope they keep
of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Hello guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. Today, here on Crime 2 with Mish, we're going to be introducing to the channel the Romeeka Meeks Blackmon story. We're going to basically go through an update of what happened initially, how things kind of laid out. And there are so many content creators just here on the YouTube space talking about this situation. There are so many it's so much going on, and this situation has become so muddy that it's almost sad. I say that just because um you have people's personal perspective coming through. Now, I'll be honest, there's one particular channel that goes live almost every day about the case. They've built a nice little following in reference to this case. And they've put out the most information about it, but they've also put out the most personal things about it that they want to be credited for. Like, they want you to take the way they take it, and they want it to be what they want it to be, as opposed to just letting the facts speak for themselves. Are they wrong? Can't say they are. But whatever the case is, that's the case. So we're going to jump into the video. We're going to be doing a reaction to a story by a crime source here on YouTube that is very not only notable but credited. What's the word? Credible. How did I mess that up, y'all? Mm-mm-mm. Anyway, guys, let's jump on into that right now.
All right, I'll go. But I'll be fashionably late. No, yes, no, yes. No, yes. Definitely not. All right, I've made my decision. I'm going, and that's that. Had my fingers crossed.
The streets of Chicago's South Loop were alive with the buzz of a Monday morning. Parents held their children's hands, backpacks bounced, cameras flashed to capture a milestone, the first day of school. In the middle of it all was 31-year-old Romeeka Meeks, carrying a hope-filled heart and a handwritten note for her son. She believed this was the start of his future. She had no idea it was also the end of hers. Hours before the gunfire, Romeeka's pen had already written the most haunting words of the day. Her note, tucked gently into her little boy's bag, was filled with encouragement, love, and pride. She told him he was the smartest, funniest, and bravest kid she knew. Words meant to send him into the classroom with confidence. Words that, by nightfall, the world would read as a mother's farewell.
In broad daylight, under investigation tonight.
WGN's Courtney Spinelli has been speaking with people who know the victim, and she has more. The deadly shooting happened this morning right here along Cermak near State after loved ones of the victim say she had just dropped her son at school. Sources close to the investigation say a woman is in custody after allegedly pulling the trigger.
But fate had set the stage for something far from a celebration. Because at that same drop-off point, the past was waiting, an ex, a new partner, and a grudge that refused to die. In minutes, the morning turned from hugs and laughter to an argument, a headlock, and a weapon. So here's the question you'll carry with you. How does a school drop-off, a place meant for beginnings, become the very scene where a child loses his mother forever? If you've ever sent someone off with love, only to wonder if it was enough, subscribe now. Too often, people don't realize the weight of their words until silence replaces them. Do you believe a single morning can hold signs of tragedy that no one notices? Welcome to Forensic True Crime Stories, where we share true crime stories based on real events that deserve to be told. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification bell icon so you never miss a new story. This story will be taking us to Chicago South Loop, Illinois.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to Forensic True Crimes. This is where obviously the information or the initial story that we are going to be starting from is posted on their channel. They at the beginning of everything that happened went ahead and kind of laid it out for us.
We didn't just see a viral note. We saw a person, a woman with a life, a career, and a family. The internet decided her name was Romeeka Meeks. It was a name that quickly came to represent a kind of quiet strength. We were told she was a hard-working manager at a McDonald's, a dedicated parent, and the kind of person who held her life together with grace. Her last message to her son gave us a window into that world, and the public looked in. But she wasn't just living her life, she was building a new one. The online narrative said she was studying to be a nurse, a goal driven by her desire for stability. Her dream wasn't about personal fame. It was about securing a better, safer future for her son. This detail made her more than just a victim. It made her a fighter, a woman whose life was cut short just as she was reaching for a better life. The world mourned the loss of a person they felt they knew. But her story, as it was told, was also one of torment. She was, according to the
Okay, I want to ask you guys a question. I want to ask, there's two dimensions to this story. People are saying that, she was very aggressive and things of this nature. But then, from one token, people are saying that she was abused by baby daddy and all of these things. I want to ask you, I know that two things can be true at the same time, but the entirety of the day that this happened makes no sense based on the facts that are put out there. And what I mean is, why is she wanting to even fight the girl if they are no longer together? Why is she wanting to have anything to do with him if there's a no contact order and, all of these things happen? Like, I really am confused with that.
viral posts, a victim of relentless harassment from her ex-boyfriend. The narrative described a toxic, controlling relationship that she had finally escaped. The public was led to believe this tragedy wasn't a random act, but the brutal, premeditated culmination of months of intimidation. It made her not just a victim, but a survivor who was finally standing up for herself, only to be ambushed. This built the foundation for the next chapter of a story that would become a household name. It's easy to get lost in a story like this and feel like you know the person. But what if that feeling is based on something that isn't real? Don't leave this story until you have all the facts. Is it a good thing that we can feel so connected to a stranger's story, even if the details are completely wrong? Every story needs a hero, and a hero often needs someone to fight against. The viral narrative gave us those figures, too. It introduced us to Carlos Lozo's Way, the ex-boyfriend, and Holly Johnson, his new girlfriend. The public was given a simple, clear reason for the tragedy:
Now her name is Khadijah, not Holly.
jealousy. A rivalry between two women, escalated by a man caught in the middle. According to the posts, Holly Johnson was portrayed as the new partner, driven by a possessive anger toward the woman who came before her. She was cast as the aggressor in this online drama, the one who held a grudge and refused to let go. And Carlos Lozo's Way, the father of the victim's child, was given the role of the complicit bystander. The narrative says that in a moment of fury, he held his ex in a headlock, preventing her from fighting back, allowing the final, fatal act to happen.
I was just blown away. She just standing up there on the phone and like, I don't know. I would be frantic. I would be so many things that she is not exhibiting here. And I quite frankly don't understand why. Why is she not upset that she was in this position? Like the whole scene makes no sense. And her justification of it. And then she's just not acting like, oh my God, I took someone's life, blah blah blah. It's just not cool. I'm sorry.
The public saw him not just as a participant, but as a coward who enabled a tragedy. These were the simple roles assigned to them by the online.
Now tell me in the comments how y'all feel. Do you guys feel this way? Do you feel that, he's just a person who enabled something, or how do you feel? Just let me know in the comments, guys.
World. A jealous new girlfriend, and an ex who betrayed a trust. We all love a good villain, but a villain is just a character. If you're willing to blindly accept these characters, then you're missing the real story behind the tragedy. Does social media need villains and heroes to make a story interesting enough to go viral? The morning of the homicide was presented by social media as the final act of a long, painful story. It was framed as an attack in broad daylight, a confrontation near a school. This narrative says that after Romeeka dropped off her son, she was confronted. The details, unconfirmed and widely circulated, describe a sudden, furious argument. The script, as told online, says that the male figure, her ex-boyfriend, put her in a headlock. This detail was a key part of the public's understanding of what happened. It was the act that took away her ability to fight back. Her life was, in this narrative, ended by a single, brutal shot. The online world claimed it was a premeditated and cowardly act, carried out in plain sight. This is the climax the internet created for itself. It gave the victim a final, tragic moment and provided a clear, emotional conclusion. The story of Romeeka Meeks was now complete, and it had a clear beginning, middle, and end. You've just witnessed a tragedy as the public saw it. If you believe everything you just watched, then you have no reason to stay. But if you're curious about what really happened, then you need to stick around. Does a compelling narrative make a story more valuable than the truth? story of the ambushed mother and the jealous ex spread with confidence. People shared the victim's note, the suspect's photos, and the details of the crime as if they were established facts. For a time, there was no questioning it. The narrative was complete. But an investigation into the official record tells a different story. News reports from that day confirmed the core event. A 31-year-old woman was indeed fatally shot in Chicago's South Loop, just as the viral posts claimed. Her death was confirmed. The location, near a school, was also correct. The police stated that the incident was domestic-related and a suspect was taken into custody. However, a closer look at the official statements from the Chicago Police Department reveals a massive point of divergence. While the public was confidently naming the people involved, police explicitly stated that the names of the victim and the offender were not being released.
It's not fair. The person doesn't come back. You need to understand that. They don't come back. Your life is taken too. So who really lose? Everybody lose. It's no win in a situation.
The story the internet was so sure of was missing its most basic components. The names Romeeka Meeks, Carlos Lozo's Way, and Holly Johnson, the entire cast of this public drama, were not present in any official report. The narrative had a foundation of truth, but the details were built on something else entirely. The truth is a choice. You can go back to the story you already know, or you can stay here and find out how a lie becomes the truth on social media. Your next step shows what you truly value. Why do we feel more comfortable with a dramatic lie than an inconvenient truth? When the public was told that an unnamed woman was shot in the South Loop, it created a void. The viral note gave us a human face, a mother's last message, but the official report gave us nothing more. People had an emotional story, but they didn't have names to attach to it. So, the online world went searching for them. What it found, according to our investigation, were pieces of other stories. On the same day as the homicide, a man was charged in a completely separate Chicago murder case in the very same neighborhood. His detention hearing was scheduled for that exact Monday morning, September 8, 2025. This was a separate event with different individuals, but it shared the same date and the same general location as the woman's killing.
Now, for me, that don't matter. The bottom line is the facts of this case. So I don't know if the way they're doing it is just for the sake of building it up or what. We know that Holly, which his real name is Khadijah. We know that the Losos guy, which is the baby daddy of both people's child, and we know that Romeeka is involved. Now, is her name Romeeka Meeks, Romeeka Meeks Blackmon, or Romeeka Blackmon? Now that remains to be seen.
This is where the stories collided. The names from one case were taken and stitched onto the emotionally powerful details of the other. The public needed a cast of characters for the story of the note and the ambush. The names Romeeka Meeks, Carlos Lozo's Way, and Holly Johnson came from an unconnected mix of online profiles and separate news reports. The narrative the world had fallen for wasn't a product of an investigation. It was the
Now that does make sense.
product of a digital assembly line, a process of taking bits and pieces and combining them into a compelling, but false, whole. Every time you share a story without checking, you're building a house of cards. This channel is about building a foundation of facts. Without it, your understanding of the world is going to crumble. Is it human nature to fill in the gaps of a story with whatever makes the most sense to us, even if it's wrong?
Somebody get a doctor! Help! Nurse!
The viral narrative didn't just give us characters, it gave us a legal theory. The public was told that the man put the victim in a headlock, and the alleged shooter claimed her actions were justified. The narrative even included a quote, "I'm licensed to carry." These details created the illusion of a legally defensible act, a story that fit neatly into the public's understanding of right and wrong. But the law is not a simple script. In Illinois, the use of lethal force in self-defense is a serious matter. A person must reasonably believe that their actions are necessary to prevent death or serious bodily harm to themselves or another. The claim of a headlock would have to be weighed by a jury to determine if it truly justified a fatal shot from another person.
Now, here's the question. It's no question that she was put in a headlock. It's no question that um, he was physical with her. It's also no question that Holly got out the car and made herself available to be in an altercation with Romeeka. So with that, uh, that's why she would need defense. If she would have stayed in the car and the doors were locked, unless Holly broke a window or something like that, she would not have been able to aggress against her. Why did she not do that?
The online narrative made a simple claim, but the legal reality is complex and full of questions. The statement about being licensed to carry is equally misleading. A concealed carry license permits someone to possess a firearm. It does not give them the legal right to use it in all situations. The report revealed...
Baby, she thought she was the police, honey. That just because she had a gun, it was on and popping. That is not how that works, baby girl. Not at all.
A crucial detail that further undermines the viral story. Under Illinois law, a history of domestic battery, even if a case was dropped, is a valid reason to have a concealed carry license denied. The legal system views a domestic dispute with a firearm as a serious threat to public safety. The very claim of legal status in a moment of conflict would have been a massive issue in a real courtroom. The narrative's supposed defense was, from a legal perspective, a complete contradiction. Most people don't care about the facts. They just want a story that fits their worldview. If you're here to understand, not just to watch, then you're in the right place. Is a person with a concealed carry license less of a threat, or more of one, when they're involved in a heated domestic dispute? We have just examined two completely different versions of the same event. One is a collection of facts from an official investigation. The other is a dramatic narrative created by the internet. Facts are incomplete, anonymous, and lack emotional punch. The narrative, however, is full of compelling details. It has a beloved victim, a clear motive, and distinct villains. It's the kind of story that travels fast because it's easy to understand. But why did the public choose the drama over the truth? The answer lies in our need for narrative. The viral note was the emotional hook, the anchor that made the story feel personal. It gave people a reason to care. And when they cared, they needed characters to go with the plot. The narrative provided them, a new girlfriend, an ex-boyfriend, and assigned them motives that were familiar and easy to accept. It didn't matter that the names weren't real. The characters felt real. The truth, on the other hand, was an anonymous news report. It was a complex legal situation with no clear villain and no emotional resolution. It didn't give us a person to mourn or a clear evil to condemn. It was simply a tragedy. The fictional story gave the public something to grasp, something to be outraged by, and something to share. You're now one of the few people who has the real story. What will you do with it? Will you go back to the easy lies? Or will you choose the difficult truth? Do we, as a society, need villains and heroes to make sense of a tragedy, even if we have to invent them?
Quick question. When y'all be in everybody else's business and not y'all own, y'all be getting paid for that? I thought, manage your business, ho.
Was he talking about more kids? And you stand that AF like Dennis the Menace.
Who the fuck is we? I ain't doing that shit, so you ain't talking about me.
For the first few minutes of this story, we made you care about a person. We talked about her hopes, her family, and her dreams. We built a portrait of a woman named Romeeka Meeks. You felt empathy for her. You felt outraged at her fate. But the real tragedy is this. While we were all focusing on the story of Romeeka, a real person, a real mother, had her own life, her own family, and her own dreams. And her actual name, her real identity, and the truth of her life have now been completely overshadowed by a viral lie. The woman who was actually killed is now just a name in a police report, a statistic in a news brief. Her memory has been replaced by a fictional persona. The note, the one that began this entire journey, was a real and heartbreaking message. But the people who read it and who shared it took the message and gave it to a ghost. We all participated in erasing the true person and giving life to a narrative that never existed. The greatest loss isn't just a life. It's the memory of that life. If you're still watching, it's because you know there's a deeper story here. What you choose to watch, like, and share has a real-world consequence. Don't be the reason a real person gets forgotten. When we share a lie about a victim, are we committing a second crime against them?
Break Latrell.
I'm at work. I'm at work. I'm always at fucking work. Damn.
We have now traveled the entire distance of this story. We started with a single, viral note that captured our hearts. We followed a narrative that gave us a victim to mourn and villains to condemn. But in the end,
So guys, what we're going to do next is jump over here and watch the actual news footage. Basically, they were talking about on that video how information went from one facet to another, which, I mean, that's true. But at the same time, then you turn and it ended up being something else. Some of that is true. And it is the fact that so many people have put so much dialect in it, it makes it hard to just get to the meat and potatoes. What we will probably end up doing is going to the documents like I do usually on my other channel when we're talking about legal type of stuff. So let's jump into this, guys, and just watch this real quick. Let me make sure that you are seeing it properly, and then we'll go from there. Hold on.
And shot and killed in the South Loop is speaking out for the first time about her daughter's death.
WGN's Jewel Hillary spoke with her, and she is in the South Loop now with more.
According to CPD, the person taken into custody for allegedly fatally shooting 31-year-old Romeeka Meeks Blackmon is released without charges. In the midst of her unbearable pain, Romeeka's mom says she's eagerly seeking justice.
I want justice. She didn't deserve it under no circumstances.
Gripped with grief, Tina McMiller's loved ones embraced her tightly as they gathered across the street from the intersection of Cermak Road near State Street, where her 31-year-old daughter, Romeeka Meeks Blackmon, was fatally shot Monday morning after dropping her son off at school.
We want justice.
Described as kind, sweet, loving, very supportive, and an amazing mom.
Now, here's the thing that they're not saying here, and obviously they're not supposed to, because the goal of this video is to make her sound amazing. They said that she can whoop tail, she will whoop your tail, and that she don't play. So all of the things being said are the truth when it comes to people that she cares about. But what about the other people? And that's where things get kind of dicey.
Romeeka was working and studying to become a nurse. Right before her death, police say a fight broke out. The suspect, who sources say Romeeka knew, allegedly pulled out a gun and shot Romeeka in the face, killing her, according to CPD.
My baby was dropping her baby off to school. And what hurt the most is I didn't get my morning phone call.
Police say since Monday's arrest, the offender has been released without charges. They wouldn't share further details other than saying they can't comment on specifics of ongoing investigations.
The family is unaware of what the police are doing, so we can't answer those questions. What we would like is that justice come in the form of accountability.
As the family seeks justice, community organizers are putting pressure on lawmakers to ensure laws meant to help curb violence are effective. They're also challenging.
Now, this is the question that I have. Why was she not charged with having that weapon close to a school? Why was he not charged with being physical with her when there's already DV acts of violence against him on her. Now, obviously, the decedent, they're not going to charge her because, why? But there should be some level of accountability. I get that he probably has an attorney telling him not to talk. Same with the other side of things. But I just want to know, why are those things not happening?
Challenging them to do more.
The state of Illinois, we're calling on them to open an office of civility. Civility has steps to be able to deal with the issue of violence.
Through her heartache, Tina is seeking strength to raise her 6-year-old grandson.
That's a hard man shoes to fill with the connection that was between him and his mama.
A balloon release ceremony in honor of Romeeka is scheduled for tonight at 7 at 68th and Normal. Reporting on the near south side, I'm Jewel Hillary, WGN News.
So, guys, I wanted us to kind of have an entryway into this case. We know that she was pow-powed. We know that she was into it with her baby's father's new boo. But there are so many questions, like, were they still dealing with each other? Like, why were emotions so high? And why was Romeeka upset with the other girl? Now, yes, she was antagonizing her as well, but at the same time, it just seems like there are a lot of things not being properly discussed here. Anyway, guys, we're going to follow this case as things go on. And I want to discuss next the autopsy. I want to see what was said. A lot of people do have information in reference to the autopsy. Um, and a lot of people have information as far as their interpretation of what is out there. But the bottom line of it is, we want to know, number one, what were the actual injuries? How did they get the injuries? Yes, there were a lot of things in the file when it comes to um, the case itself. But the thing is, where do we go from here? Like, um, why are the people who are accountable for said actions not being held accountable? How was she struck 4 times? This guy was pretty much holding her, so people say, and he wasn't struck. Why was it okay for Miss Holly to do what she did with him right there? There are so many questions that we have, and we want to get to the bottom of them. So stay tuned. We will get back to this case and many more in our next and future episodes. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to check out our video. We will definitely see you in the next one. Bye.